My friend is an Uber driver. He told me a horror story of where two passengers he had decided to give roadhead in the back seat. They also blew some of the load on the seat. Since then, my friend has always used seat covers and floor covers. Blew some of the load, blew some of the load, blew some of the load, blew some of the Uber. It's a popular ride-sharing service that allows people to, well, share their rides. While this can lead to some horror stories, we're just going to take a look at some that are slightly less horrifying. I got way too drunk, told the Uber to take me home, woke up 4 hours later in my driveway with my actual car 4 hours away at my hotel. How much did that Uber ride cost you? His dignity. Buddy drives for Uber and he's told me some shit. He had two plastered chicks in his car. One puked on the other, causing the other to spew. There was vom all over his BMW's leather seats. Uber paid for the damage and charged the girls though. Doesn't do Uber much anymore cause it's a hassle. Wait. An Uber driver driving a BMW? And then there's just the downright weird. I once picked up a man and woman who were both dressed and made up as Uncle Sam. Like, professional level costumes and latex facial features and all. Movie quality Uncle Sams. Other than size, they looked exactly alike, wrote a driver in St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, I think this should be fun. Nope. They then get into a raging argument because apparently female Uncle Sam was flirting with someone other than male Uncle Sam. Male Uncle Sam was apparently ignoring female Uncle Sam, whom he claimed disappeared, only to be found later at the back bar, seemingly with her vengeful shit gene fully activated. Screaming, followed by silence, followed by them trying to drag me into the argument as a third-party observer who is thinking I might be having an LSD flashback, followed by screaming, and then it happened. 10 minutes of watching Uncle Sam do a let's make out session with himself. Really? Two bearded old men in tall hats throat-tonguing each other. I still get the shivers. Now, judging by this story, I'm pretty sure I know why they're both dressed up as Uncle Sam now. They just couldn't agree on who was better suited for the role. Picked up a guy in the middle of the day from a bar. Took him to a casino nearby. As soon as I got on the freeway, some lady started tailing me and constantly beeping at me. I freaked out a little and he said, "That might be my wife. Don't worry, she'll stop following soon." She followed us for the whole 20-minute ride, non-stop beeping. Once we got there, he practically jumped out of my car and ran for the door. She followed him in her car, almost hitting him. Last thing he said to me, "Don't ever get married." I drive full-time, mostly Uber but plenty of Lyft and side deals. Generally, the passengers are okay. I'm huge and have their credit card on file. The real horrors are the same shit anyone driving bar closing hours would see. I average 200 miles a night, typically from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. I haven't seen anyone die yet, but I see someone almost die at least once a night. Drunk drivers, no lights on the freeway, near misses, wasted college kids running into the street, police chases that don't make the news, fender benders galore. I'm much more afraid of the strangers on the road than the strangers sitting behind me. Boring horror story. 2 weeks ago I drove two young girls home around 3 a.m. on a Friday night. Quiet and polite passengers, but when they get out I find they've literally stabbed up my back seat. And dashcam review shows they were making gun hand gestures at me during the trip. They paid for a new seat, full retail price. Attacking someone driving a car you're in seems suicidal, but drunk bitches be crazy. I watch the rear view mirror closely now. And this guy just shrugs it off as if they weren't trying to kill him. Yeah, these two girls just stabbed up my seat while I was in there, but you know, they're just drunk. Drunk bitches be crazy, you know? This one's a bit lengthy, but trust me, stick with it. It is worth it. Let's go. Yeah, I picked a passenger up from Stagecoach on Irby Street in Buckhead at around 2:30 a.m. Friday night. Guy was a 40-something white dude and wasted. Jumped in the front seat and off we went, a driver wrote. So we get a couple of miles and he says, "Pull over here real quick into the Kroger shopping center on the left." So I'm like, okay, and do so. The passenger leaves his wallet on the front seat, says, "Hang on," and walks off to a streetlight. Now, realize it's 2:40ish in the morning. The huge parking lot is darn near empty, and we are in the center, lit up like being in a spotlight during a prison break. He then whips it out and starts urinating. I'm thinking, WTF? And debating my choices in life at this point. I was considering throwing his wallet at him like a frisbee and taking off. Then, He looks right at me, and my oh no's sensor makes the hair on my neck stand up. He proceeds to drop his pants, squats, and does a surreal ass-splosion while looking at me with this huge grin on his face. I'm talking full-on Technicolor yawn at the bottom end here. It was the most freakish thing I may have seen to date. A face of horror, orgasmic delight, relief. The sound he made will come to haunt me, I'm sure. It was an animalistic grunt that I didn't know a human could make. The driver decides that it's time to hightail it out of there, throws the passenger his wallet and drives off, ending the trip early and submits a report to Uber before taking a break. Because I was still a bit shaken from the audio and visual sight I had just been a witness to. But it doesn't end there. Just before getting ready to go home, he gets a phone call. An Uber employee is on the other end asking about the passenger. I'm like, okay, and relay the whole thing to her. I was blown away with hearing a giggle and sniffling on the other end of the phone. I ask if she is okay and she just, moment please. So I guess she gets composed and says, well, I was just calling to verify your side verbally. Thank you for your cooperation. I explained this was the first time ever to be contacted by any Uber human and was curious to know exactly why. So apparently the passenger requested another Uber and proceeded to wipe his butt all over the back seat as he got in the car. And to be honest, I really don't know if I'd prefer to be the first or the second Uber driver here, because at least with the second one you don't have the memory of this guy staring you in the face while he does this animalistic grunt. One time someone put a blow-up doll with 240s duct taped to the doll's hands in my passenger seat and said that the Uber was for her. He closed the door and I just drove me and the doll to the destination. Was there someone to meet the doll, or did you just have to leave it on the sidewalk at the destination? Yeah, he sent me to his parents' house. I rang the doorbell and gave it to his mom. What was her reaction? They asked if their son sent this and I said I guess, and they just shook their head like typical Wayne. Fucking Wayne. Finally, I just started about 2 weeks ago. Last week I picked up 3 guys. One of them was dressed to the nines in BDSM gear. So yeah, gay BDSM 3-way definitely the top of the chart. I'm not an Uber driver, but I once saw Ghost. Thank you, Roman Nose, for that totally unrelated comment. Okay, so here we've got a bit of a collection of tweets by people who have had awkward Uber experiences. Also, while we're on the subject of Twitter, go chuck me a follow on my new account. Uber driver said he had to pretend to be my relative to avoid a ticket in a taxi zone, so he got out of the car, hugged me, and said, I love you. Our Uber driver said he wanted J-Lo to take him away from this life at least 3 times. Also, he was over 60 years old. Uber driver said his wildest ride was when some chick from Bravo got in the car, made out with him, and took him to a party with mounds of cocaine. Me? Looks like it's gonna be another hot day. My Uber driver? Yeah, good practice for hell. Uber driver kindly let 2 female pedestrians cross the road, then he stared at their butts and said, very nice, and then glanced at me for affirmation. My Uber driver just said I look like an old librarian? I love Uber. However, my driver just took a deep breath, smelled me and said yum. Pretty sure that's not included with their fare. My Uber driver just said to me, thank you for wearing no bra, miss. FML crying. Our Uber driver is telling us how she works at a swingers club and that we should get wild and crazy there. Uber driver said his last guy was a chef that spent $10,000 a month on the white stuff. I cheat on my wife every chance I get. Just never mix business with pleasure. Jose the Uber driver. Hashtag life advice. Hashtag thanks Jose. Hashtag good morals. First time Ubering in Mumbai. Driver stopped on the main road to pee on the side of the road. No words were exchanged. My Uber driver. Your name is Aaron. Why do you have a unisex name? Me. Are we there yet? Alright guys, that about wraps up this video. Thanks again for watching. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everyone who's followed me in the past week or so. The channel's been blowing up like crazy, so thank you everyone. Also, as I mentioned before, I've just started up a Twitter account, which I'm going to be more active on soon. So if you could go chuck a follow on that, that would be great. And lastly, if you have any ideas for future videos that you'd like to see, please put them in the comments just down below. But anyway, enough of that. See you bitch boys in the next one. Bye.
Pickle Rick.